Hello, it's LaShawn, and I'm back to talk a little bit about pattern testing. I just had an opportunity to complete some pattern testing, and I thought I wanted to share a little bit about my experience. This is my second time pattern testing. The first time that I did it, I did a children's pattern, and I used my grandson as the model, I should say, to test the pattern. And this time around, I did a woman's dress. Both times, the experience was pretty interesting, and I actually enjoyed it and wouldn't mind doing it again. I think pattern testing is one of those things that, pattern designers do to make sure that their patterns are appropriate for all different types of bodies. And so I think that is a very helpful thing, because one of the things that I've learned as a sewist is that all bodies are not created equal, and I always have to make some type of adjustment to a pattern for it to fit my own body, which just tells me that I don't have a typical body, or at least not the typical body that patterns are made to fit without any modifications. And maybe that's everybody's body. Maybe everyone has to make some type of modification. Anyway, getting back to pattern testing. This one was pretty straightforward, and I really enjoyed the process. And so the typical things that I have found consistent between both of the times that I've pattern tested is that, you typically have a small window in which you complete your pattern. Usually it's anywhere between 2 and 4 weeks. They traditionally try to find an individual of all different sizes, at least one, sometimes multiple individuals of a particular size. They give you the instructions. They also give you what we call a PDF version of the pattern, meaning that you typically have to print it out. You tape all the pattern pieces together. You cut them out. And then that is equivalent to the commercial pattern that you would typically receive in a pack. And then you look at the instructions, you look at the pattern pieces, and you give feedback. How easy are the instructions to understand? Are there any typographical errors? Are there any areas that are not clear? And you make recommendations for clarifications on the pattern pieces and how they fit together, as well as on the instructions. And then you construct the actual garment itself, and you get feedback on how the garment itself fits, and whether you need to make any adjustments, such as, do you need to add a dart in? Is any particular area too tight or too loose? Is it consistent with the measurements that were provided based on you selecting the particular pattern size that you were going to cut based on your measurements? And so those are some of the feedback that you are giving. And so that is consistent between both of the times that I've pattern tested. What I liked about this particular time around pattern testing is that they had a particular platform that we used. They created basically a special group in which all of the participants provided feedback. And I thought that was pretty interesting, or a pretty good way to be able to provide, feedback, because you're able to benefit from all of the feedback that you're receiving from everyone. And so the pattern instructions and the pattern are typically updated frequently throughout the process. So the other thing that you learn to do is do not print your instructions, your PDF pattern itself, or your fabric. Do not cut it or print it too far in advance from when you actually plan to construct the pattern. Why? Because every time feedback is given, frequently modifications are made and so those get incorporated into the pattern. And so you want to wait until you are actually ready to cut the fabric and sew the pattern, so that you can have the most current information and adjustments that have been made based on the prior feedback. So those are some of the typical steps when you get into pattern testing. This one went really smoothly, as did the first one. It went smooth. That was my very first time doing it. So I would say that I had a little bit more experience this time around. And so I would definitely do some pattern testing again. At some point in the very near future, I plan to also create a pattern, and pattern testing will be a part of the process that I follow as well. So I am learning a lot in going through the pattern testing process. I'd like to at least do it one or two more times before I actually produce my own pattern, just so I could get a feel for what works well and what doesn't work so well. So anyway, that is my process. That is my experience with pattern testing. I definitely plan to participate in it again, and I've enjoyed sharing it with you. So as you listen to this podcast, let me know if you have any questions. Have you also pattern tested as well? How was your experience? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Let me know. I'd love to hear more about your experiences. Until next time, have a great day, and I look forward to catching up with you in the Let's Get Social app.